On September 17, 1972, more than 51,000 people jammed into Mile High Stadium to watch the Denver Broncos begin a new season against the Houston Oilers. What they saw was a wide-open, exciting team whose prospects seemed as bright as their colorful jerseys. And they saw a new coach, John Ralston, whose honest enthusiasm seemed to inspire everyone. Bronco quarterback Steve Ramsey sent his receivers roaming through the Houston secondary and repeatedly found them open for valuable gains. A pass to tight end Billy Masters gave the Broncos the first of the many points they would score on this opening day. In the second quarter, Ramsey added 6 more, this time with a play-action quarterback keeper. The Bronco defense protected the early lead with a blitzing pass rush that reached Dan Pastorini 5 times. With 3 seconds to play, punter Billy Van Heusen, seeking only to run out the clock, suddenly discovered 66 yards of open ground and sprinted to the final touchdown, which gave Denver a resounding 30-17 victory. But in spite of this convincing beginning, in spite of their new coach and new spirit, Denver was still plagued with many old problems. Perhaps the D had a new meaning: determination.
Now let's be sure Bob,
John Ralston never seemed discouraged, nor did he ever lose his enthusiasm.
Now, gotta have that great coverage. All right, we're gonna knock one clean out of here. All right, now come on, man. Let's get a hand in there. Let's go down there and knock somebody's jack off. What do you say? Come on, let's go to work.
Way back in the subconscious, it has to be there that they go on the field, maybe optimistically at the conscious level, thinking they're going to win, but the subconscious saying that chances are they won't, and this has to be changed, and sometimes it takes quite a while to do it.
Ralston is an instructor at the Dale Carnegie School of Success and sees himself as an active, positive participant in every game.
I tend personally to reserve about 4 things to do during the course of the game. Number 1 is to make all kicking decisions. I think this has to be reserved for a head coach. Number 2 is to keep track of the scoring combinations. Number 3 is to analyze very carefully the game plan itself. And number 4 is to encourage personnel. Accredited Dale Carnegie instructor, and I'm kind of a nut on that. Certainly enthusiasm, the magic of enthusiasm is so important in coaching because you can get that little extra edge. Now, I just happen to believe in this. I vividly imagine things, I ardently desire them, I sincerely believe, and I enthusiastically act upon all phases of coaching.
Okay, field goal. Jimmy, let's try one. Jimmy, I think we're in range right now, aren't we? Now, the important thing, Jim, is to really, you got to tell them to cover because you could come up short. If you do, they got to cover. So just tell them now, be sure you guys cover. So hit it up high, on the ball and power it, use your power to... Hey, nice going. That's a hell of a kick. We need one more of those now, and we'll win it. One more. Well, you muscled it through. You need another, right? Hey, listen, tell them to really cover like a bunch of mad dogs. No!
Got on the ball play.
That's in motion. No.
Although he ardently, fervently, and enthusiastically cared, he often had nothing but the consolation that comes to a valiant loser.
We had our opportunities and we didn't make them pay off.
A loss is a disappointment, but it is also a necessary lesson. Ralston suffered but learned from each one and patiently went about improving and reorganizing his team. To strengthen his offense, he had traded for Charlie Johnson, a veteran quarterback whose career had been checkered with injury and interrupted by military duty. But once in Denver, and given the opportunity to start, Johnson summoned up all his powers. He summoned up the skills everyone thought he had forgotten. He refined those he had already learned. He put everything together to become the most accurate passer in Denver history. To complement Johnson, Ralston purchased Rod Sherman, number 84, a wide receiver from the Oakland Raiders. Sherman is not particularly fast nor elusive, but he managed to sneak into the open enough times to become Denver's leading receiver. Haven Moses, number 25, joined the team in mid-season, and his spectacular catches added momentum to forces already in motion. Under Johnson's leadership, the passing game matured into a consistent striking force and went on to roll up more than 2,600 yards through the air. In all of pro football, only the 49ers and the Jets gained more. In spite of the resurgent passing attack, the focus of the Bronco offense still centered on the legs of Floyd Little, number 44. For 6 years in Denver, he has quietly, steadily gone about his business as one of football's finest ground gainers. Surprisingly, he is used mostly as an inside runner in apparent disregard of his modest 195 pounds. The assignment is, however, a tribute to his strong leg drive and extraordinary balance. A frustrated defender once said, "Tackling Floyd Little is like wrestling with a bag of flour open at the top. He just spills out all over, and you're left holding the bag." The bowed legs, the flowing moves, the easy rhythm all add up to the fact that a little goes a long way. The Denver team assumed its shape and character from its veterans. But there were younger players who added depth and dimension to the team. There was Randy Montgomery, number 21, a talented young artist whose lust is not for life, but for the goal line. Riley Odoms, number 88, caught 21 passes and clearly demonstrated why he was the Broncos' #1 draft choice in 1972. Tom Graham, number 83, was drafted 4th, but tackled with such enthusiasm and effect that he became the Broncos' starting middle linebacker by mid-season. In front of Graham was a big and battle-tested defensive line. Paul Smith, number 70, was feared by every offensive unit in football and was so good he went to the Pro Bowl. Lyle Alzado, number 77, is an avalanche of a man who can bench press 500 pounds. And when he hits you, says one running back, he crosses your eyes. Alzado and Smith were joined at various times by Lloyd Voss, Pete Duranko, Tom Domrus, and John Hoffman to comprise a front four which tackled the quarterback more times than any team in the AFC. The defensive line epitomized the raw strength and fighting spirit that became the Broncos' trademark during the last games of the season of '72.
This is Houston head coach Bill Peterson, a rookie from Rice University who's looking for his first win in the pros. This is Denver head coach John Ralston from Stanford, a rookie who's looking for the same thing. Last Sunday, Coach Ralston got help galore from quarterback Steve Ramsey, as early in the game, Ramsey winged one to Riley Odoms, number 88. And while Denver fans were well pleased, no one was happier than Coach John Ralston, who's a far cry from those stoic coaches who hide emotions as if they were diamonds. Number 10, Steve Ramsey, put Denver on the board with a shot to tight end Billy Masters, and the Broncos were never headed. They were never headed because Ramsey kept coming up with big plays. On this one, he hit Rod Sherman, who galloped 55 yards. Again, it was Steve Ramsey, this time on a keeper that put Denver on top 23-10. Meanwhile, Oilers signal caller Dan Pastorini was the scrambling man in search of a receiver. He finally found one in 00 flash Ken Burrow, and the Oilers were close at 23-17. In roulette, 00 wins, but not this time, as number 21, Randy Montgomery, prevented the tie. And the Broncos added one for good measure on the last play of the game when an alleged punt turned into a 66-yard touchdown scamper for Billy Van Heusen. The 30-17 Denver victory left the Broncos alone at the top in the AFC West. and they have never been there before this late in the season. For first-year coach Ralston, congratulations. And for first-year coach Peterson, well, wait till this week.
Problems which shadowed their bright hopes in doubt and defeat. Against the San Diego Chargers, several Denver passes fell into the wrong hands, and a concerned John Ralston watched his team lose by 23 points.
Denver Broncos added more gloom to the Charger horizon on the opening kickoff. Rapid Randy Montgomery, a 9-3 sprinter from Weber State, blazed the distance, and the upstart Broncos were suddenly thinking about a second straight victory for new head coach John Ralston. And another week in an unfamiliar position, all alone at the top of the Western Division. Denver did score one more time when Steve Ramsey rocked in on a quarterback draw. But this touchdown came 55 minutes after Montgomery's spectacular. For the rest, an inserted veteran quarterback Charlie Johnson, number 12. Number 40, Joe Beauchamp, greeted Johnson with one of 6 San Diego interceptions for the day. In the end, the Chargers had come back for a vital 37-14 victory, and time had run out on Denver's one-week stay at the top.
The following week in Denver, the band played the theme from Mission Impossible. Then watched the Bronco offense self-destruct against the Kansas City Chiefs.
The fans in Denver never give up. Someday we'll see the Broncos defeat the Chiefs again, maybe this week. After all, this is upset week, right? And who better to pull off a big upset than number 10 new quarterback Joe Kapp? Number 10 is really Steve Ramsey. And although he's no Joe Kapp yet, he did have his moments in leading the Broncos to a score in each quarter and a total of 24 points. He also got some worthwhile assistance from last year's league rushing champion Floyd Little. In the first 2 weeks of the season, 24 points would have been enough to defeat the Chiefs in the same quarter. Kansas City outscored Denver 45-24 and kept Bronco fans wondering when they might ever see their team win another over the Chiefs.
Against the Cincinnati Bengals, the Broncos suffered critical breakdowns in their punt coverage, and Tommy Casanova streaked 66 yards to a score which sent Denver down to defeat 21-10.
With Floyd Little, number 44, doing the honors. After the 10 early points, the Bengals' tough young defense took over. Back Ken Anderson found wide receiver Chip Myers for a fourth-quarter touchdown. The Cincinnati Bengals may not be the highest scoring team in the league, but somewhat surprisingly, they are the only team in first place in the AFC Central.
Against the Minnesota Vikings, a last-second game-winning pass proved that the Broncos still lack the experience and poise necessary to win the close ones. Defeat is unpleasant, but it is also revealing.
On the surface, the Denver Broncos look the same, but this season they have gone through a re-indoctrination period with new head coach John Ralston. Ralston believes in the emotional aspect of the game. He even joins his kickoff team in the pregame huddle. The rookie head coach from Stanford is determined to build a winner on his own terms, but it is unlikely that he faced a team in college like the Minnesota Vikings points. But Denver began getting the ball to a man who was born to test tough defenses. Number 44, Floyd Little, took a flare pass 32 yards for Denver's first score, and suddenly, the fabled Purple People Eaters did not seem quite so invincible. Little directly challenged Minnesota's strength and came up with 100 tough yards and 3 touchdowns. Little's performance gave Denver the emotional edge that Ralston seeks, and the Bronco defense responded. Rookie Tom Graham, number 83, picked up on Dave Osborne's error as Denver put on fourth quarter pressure. Then number 12, Charlie Johnson, added another element to the Bronco attack by passing to Rod Sherman, number 84, with time running out. Less than a minute remained when Little sliced in for his third touchdown and a 20-16 lead. Ralston's sky-high Broncos were sure they had just delivered Minnesota loss number 4. The Vikings had only 22 seconds to score, but Fran Tarkington was finally ready with the big play everyone has been expecting from him all season. Number 84, Gene Washington, gathered in his 31-yard touchdown, and the Vikings were home free with a hairy 23-20 victory.
On October 22nd, the remodeled Broncos faced the Oakland Raiders, a team confident of their position on top of the Western Division. But against the Raiders on this day was a fiercely determined Bronco team, united not only by weeks of hardship and adversity, but by hope and purpose as well.
Let's go, Flag! We need 7! Go by you! Attack him now, go down! Oh, come on, challenge!
Now, kick the field goal. Field goal.
All right! Let's go, baby! Punch it in! In there, in there! Man, I was lucky to get that. I hit so much damn dirt. Stay on top now, baby!
Tell those guys to stay off for him now.
Two big guys, Steve. Let's go, baby! Take it right! Get the ball, Smitty! Get the ball, Smitty! Let's go, Lyle! Let's go, Pete!
Just be relentless in your rush. Be relentless.
Outside, outside, Lloyd! Outside, Lloyd!
78's holding! Watch it! What's 78? 73! Look at it, look at it, look at it. He's got his shirt.
Son of a gun! Come on, Tony! You saw it!
Hey, sir, would you please watch 73?
The guy's playing scared. All you gotta do is keep in his space and press this, spray him all over the place.
The Raider attack was slow and disorganized and loaded with costly mistakes. Denver, guided by Charlie Johnson, was poised and decisive. His accurate passes riddled Oakland's league-leading pass defense, and his play selection showed clearly how well the Broncos were prepared for this particular game. Johnson completed 20 of 28 passes for 361 yards and 2 touchdowns. The Broncos smashed the Raiders 30-23. It was their first victory over Oakland in 10 years and convincing proof of the potency of the revitalized Denver offense.
This distinctive gait is well known to Rocky Mountain football fans. In Denver, there is no mistaking double 4 Floyd Little. To pay tribute to their bandy-leg superstar, Bronco fans designated last Sunday as Floyd Little Day and showered adulation and gifts on the heart and soul of the Denver franchise. Then on one second-half play against the Cleveland Browns, Little demonstrated what all the fuss was about. All too often in the past, Little has been Denver's whole show, but against Cleveland he had plenty of help. In the first quarter, number 12 Charlie Johnson and number 11 Bob Anderson chipped in their share of excitement. Little, Anderson, and a Jim Turner field goal gave Denver the lead, and then another Bronco legend stepped forward. Phipps disdained the field goal and snuck over for a 27-20 Cleveland lead and what looked like the clincher. But with 1:30 left, Johnson and the Broncos still had a shot from the Cleveland 18. Tom Darden, number 27, stole away the last chance for a happy ending to Floyd Little Day. But the 27-20 party spoiler did wonders for Cleveland's morale and kept the Browns in contention one game off the pace in the AFC Central. Went from Steve Ramsey to Floyd Little to Bobby Anderson to completely forgotten Riley Odom's number 88. But the beaten Broncos saved their best for last as Floyd Little rocked and socked to a 55-yard touchdown. But Little's individual brilliance was not enough to stave off the Giants, who won their 5th game 29-17.
As college coaches, John Ralston and Tommy Prothro had met before in the Coliseum. And this time, as usual, Ralston was out for an upset. Floyd Little did his part with 79 yards, 24 of them on the longest play of the game. Then quarterback Charlie Johnson passed to Jerry Simmons in the end zone, and Denver held a surprising 7-0 lead at the half. But the Rams' ferocious foursome made sure that Johnson threw no more touchdown passes. In the third quarter, Roman Gabriel brought the Rams a tie with a sore-armed lob to Jack Snow in the end zone. The Rams defense set up a go-ahead field goal when Charlie Johnson was intercepted by burly middle linebacker Marlon McKeever, number 86. But the Rams could accomplish no more. The Broncos took full advantage of Gabriel's sore arm and held Los Angeles to only 9 first downs. With 3 fourth-quarter field goals by Jim Turner, Denver walked off with a 16-10 victory over the sleepwalking Rams.
This is Denver coach John Ralston, and he's looking in vain for a way to beat Oakland twice in a row, something a team of Denver's caliber rarely does. Following a Denver field goal, Oakland made a rare mistake, and the Broncos capitalized. Number 12, Charlie Johnson, hit number 84, former Raider Rod Sherman, and Denver led 10-7. The Broncos made an exuberant effort to come back late in the ball game. Johnson to number 81 Billy Masters made the final score 37-20, but the Denver team was never really that close. For Denver coach John Ralston, it's been a difficult year, while for Raider coach John Madden, his team is sitting pretty at 1.5 games ahead of Kansas City. Last Sunday, John Ralston led his Denver Broncos into Atlanta Stadium with hopes of catching the Falcons on the downgrade after their hard-fought Monday night loss in Washington. On the Broncos' first series, Charlie Johnson fooled the Falcons with a play-action pass to running back Joe Dawkins, subbing for injured Bobby Anderson. Dawkins subsequently scored from the 1. And following an Atlanta fumble, Charlie Johnson found his massive rookie tight end Riley Odoms, who put Denver within scoring range again. The Broncos held a 13-0 lead in the second quarter, while the Falcons had amassed a total offense of only 6 yards. It definitely looked like just one of those Sundays for Bob Berry and the Falcons. Steve Ramsey passed to Rod Sherman for one last touchdown, but Atlanta held on to win 23-20 and remained just 1/2 game behind San Francisco in the NFC West.
Arrowhead Stadium opened 11 weeks ago, filled with fiery optimism. 5 home losses later, the dreams of Kansas City Super Bowl VII have grown stone cold. Last week, a hardy few ventured out in icy winds to watch the Chiefs wind down against the equally frigid Denver Broncos. While the Chiefs are not accustomed to finishing out a season playing meaningless games, this is one area where the Broncos have vast experience. Number 83, Tom Graham, heaped more woes on the Chiefs. And then number 12, Charlie Johnson, went to work on number 40, Jim Marcellus. Officials ruled that number 25, Haven Moses, was illegally leaned on, and the interference call set up a 1-yard Floyd Little touchdown to give Denver the early lead. But for the unbelieving Marcellus, the worst was yet to come. This time, Johnson and Moses connected for 6 points, and Marcellus reflected the frustration of Kansas City's winter of discontent. Lead, and rendered harmless a last-minute Denver touchdown by number 22, Fran Lynch. In a season which had started with such lofty goals, a 24-21 victory over a last-place team may not seem very important. But for Chief fans, or rather what is left of them, it was enough to kindle hope for a different kind of year next season at Arrowhead.
High noon, December 10th. 9 degrees at kickoff. The second to last game of 1972. Any appraisal of Ralston's work would rest on what was done in these final 2 games. Against the San Diego Chargers, the Broncos demonstrated all the elements of winning football. The defensive line smothered San Diego's running game, then moved their attentions to quarterback John Hadel and frequently forced him to pass into the teeth of the Denver secondary. On offense, the Broncos showed the Chargers everything but mercy as they freewheeled through San Diego for 38 points. Men like Bobby Maples, Laren Jackson, Tom Lyons, Marv Montgomery, and Mike Current formed a secure passing pocket from which Charlie Johnson delivered 2 touchdown strikes to Haven Moses. The blocking for the running game was just as impressive. Time after time, the offensive line opened gaping holes, and Fran Lynch, number 22, and Joe Dawkins, number 33, made good use of the extra running room. The special teams put the finishing touches on a total team triumph when they loosed Charlie Greer on a 65-yard tightrope trip to a touchdown. The following Sunday, the Broncos ended the season of '72.
With nothing at stake but fear of the cold, the Chargers met the Broncos in sub-zero Denver weather. This was no place for the sunshine San Diegan beachcombers, and some even decided to leave early. Actually, the weather would affect both teams' ability to possess the ball, and the Rocky Mountain boys had their troubles too. But no one was affected like number 21, John Hadel. Hadel suffered through one of the most frustrating days of his long career, his cannon misfiring more than once. The man on the receiving end of both of Hadel's duds was Lyle Alzado, leader of the Bronco defense, and a constant thorn in Hadel's side last Sunday. When Hadel wasn't firing duds, his receivers were stone cold too. Even the ghost, Gary Garrison, felt the numbing chill in his claws. This was a day Hadel and his receivers would love to forget. When Hadel wasn't firing duds and when his receivers weren't dropping them, Hadel was being dropped himself under the fury of the Bronco rush. Charger fortunes read like the house that Jack built. When Hadel wasn't firing duds, when his receivers weren't dropping them, when he wasn't being dropped, plays like this one to Pettis Norman, number 88, were nullified due to penalties. Hadel did manage to find the ghost 10 times, once for a touchdown, but it came late and was their only touchdown. Between this score and the opening whistle, the Broncos laid it on San Diego. Number 25, Haven Moses, and number 12, quarterback Charlie Johnson, took their hands out of their pockets long enough to connect on 2 scoring passes. It was amazing that the Broncos were able to roll it up in the sub-zero weather. Charlie Greer skittered and skated his way down the sidelines on a 65-yard punt return, highlighting a lopsided Bronco victory. But it will be a long winter in both towns as neither team has fulfilled its preseason expectations. Broncos 34, Chargers 13. Despite the thin air of Denver, neither the Broncos nor the Patriots had much reason to feel lightheaded, as both had clinched losing seasons long ago. Still, the Patriots hope to make interim head coach Phil Bankson's probable farewell a happy one with a victory. Meanwhile, John Ralston was ducking the lightning bolts of Jim Plunkett, a big stepping stone blocking Denver's hoped exit from the AFC West Division basement. Plunkett proved less of an obstacle than expected as the Broncos kerplunked Plunkett 6 times, held him touchdown passless, and forced him into literally off-balance deliveries. Not to be outdone by Plunkett's passing polish, Bronco quarterback Charlie Johnson exhibited a unique handoff style. For New England, their best offensive weapon was the pass interference play. Bill Thompson's premature tackle on Reggie Rucker set up a short scoring run by Carl Garrett. Later, an interference call on Chip Myrtle set up this Garrett touchdown. The Patriots managed 21 points, which used to be enough to beat Denver, but not anymore. Last week, Denver scored 38. And this week, Bill Thompson's 59-yard punt return started a 45-point Bronco bustout. Thompson's return set up one of 2 Floyd Little touchdown plunges, and a 15-yard burst by Fran Lynch gave the Broncos 3 touchdowns via ground assault. When the infantry wasn't doing it, the Air Force was. This Steve Ramsey to Rod Sherman rocket went for 51 yards, the game's longest play. While Ramsey won long ball honors, Johnson was throwing 3 touchdown passes. The first, a 20-yarder to Sherman. In all, 10 different receivers caught passes for 341 yards. Haven Moses caught 3, including this 22-yarder for a score. For his last touchdown toss, Johnson hit Moses again, and he showed what the phrase "good hands" means. The 45-21 win, coupled with the San Diego loss, enabled Denver to finish out of the cellar in the AFC West for the first time in 5 years.
But finished it, charging toward a future that would never again be built in the image of the past. The Broncos clobbered the New England Patriots 45-21, ending the season with a 5-9 record. It was a complete rout. Denver gained control of the game right from the first quarter. Their relentless running attack established a momentum that would grow minute by minute as the game progressed. Denver's defense pursued Jim Plunkett so enthusiastically, so ardently, and so fervently that he lost more than 50 yards attempting to pass. For the second week in a row, the special teams contributed a big play. Bill Thompson raced through the Patriots on a punt return for 58 yards. Charlie Johnson's 3 touchdown passes were convincing proof that his best years in the NFL are still ahead of him. Haven Moses gathered in the last touchdown, and the Broncos were winners again. Victory was sweet, But sweeter still was the fact that it was the first time in Denver history that the Broncos ended their season with 2 consecutive wins. Victories won not only for the present, but for the long and better days that are to come. Victories to be earned by true professionals, men who have survived a testing of the spirit and who now are ready to tread firmly on pro football's next decade.